I'm making a pizza. Hello, welcome to this pizza tutorial. We got some bad news at a great bar in Chicago. The Boiler Room unexpectedly closed down. The Boiler Room was great because they had the PB&J special. That was a shot of Jameson, a can of PBR, and a slice of pizza. Their signature pizza there was called the Purist. It was a basil and balsamic reduction pizza. So we're gonna make one of those today to tribute the Boiler Room in Chicago. We're also gonna make a giardiniera pizza while we're on the subject of Chicago. But before all that, we have to start with the dough. So get your stand mixer out, and in there we wanna put 650 grams of 70-degree water. We want a kilogram of bread flour, 50 grams of olive oil, and 30 grams of brown sugar. You're gonna mix that at your stand mixer's lowest speed for about 3.5 minutes until everything's well incorporated. Then just turn your mixer off and let the dough rest for about 20 minutes. Now you wanna add yeast. Mix that up for 1 minute, low speed again. Then add the salt and mix it for a minute more. And then turn the speed to the next setting for an additional 4 minutes. Then you just want to lightly oil some of your Gladware here and drop the dough into there and cover it with the lid. Let that rest for about 30 minutes. Now we'll pull that out, stretch it, fold it. Now spin your whole Gladware 180 degrees and do it again. You want 4 total folds. Now let that rest for another 30 minutes and then do the whole stretch and fold again. Now make sure that lid is on your Gladware and put that in the refrigerator for at least 8 hours. This is where the cold fermentation takes place. Now let's go back in time. Welcome back in time. The giardiniera takes a few days to make, so we're gonna get started early. I got 2 words for you. Hope you like chopping veggies. We're gonna need about 10 ribs of celery, about a head of cauliflower. Gonna need 2 red bell peppers, 4 serrano chili peppers if you can handle it. This is a spicy giardiniera we're doing. About 5 carrots. We're gonna need about a cup of green olives that we're gonna slice. And then once all your veggies are chopped and thrown into a pot that's big enough to hold them all, you're gonna wanna toss in about a 1/4 cup of kosher salt and just enough water to keep them all covered. You're gonna let that sit overnight. And what that's gonna do is gonna draw out some of the natural moisture that's inside of these vegetables, and that will make them take on the brine better once you put them in the brine. All right, it's day 2 now of our giardiniera prep. Still the day before we're gonna start our pizza dough, and 2 days before our pizza night. Our vegetables have soaked overnight in this briny saltwater solution. So first off, we're just gonna strain these vegetables. Yeah, every jar that you're gonna store this giardiniera in will need a little bit of seasoning, some crushed red pepper flakes, some oregano, some mustard seed, celery seed, coriander seed, fennel seed, a bay leaf, and a clove of garlic that you've cut in half. Don't forget some whole black peppercorns, and then start putting your veggies into your spiced jars. You really wanna stuff these full. Get as much veggies as you can in each jar. And then top each one with a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. Now with all our veggies in the jar, let's make a brine. As for the brine, you just want 4 cups of water and 4 cups of white vinegar, and then throw in 2 tablespoons of kosher salt. Now that our brine has come to a boil, we're just gonna pour this into our jars. Now let these steep for 2 to 3 days and they'll be ready to eat. Now, let's go back to the future! The big day is finally here. It's pizza day. So about 4 hours before you're going to cook your pizzas, you want to get that dough out of the fridge, let it come to room temp for about half an hour, and then with thoroughly floured hands, you're gonna scoop it out onto a floured work surface. All right. Now with the help of your dough blade, you're gonna cut this into about 6 equal portions. Each one should weigh about 300 grams if you wanna measure. Then you wanna start picking these up, taking all these corners, pinching them together. And then you take the outer edges and you just keep pulling and pinching until you get this as round as possible. And what's happening is on the underside, you're getting the surface area very taut, and there's a lot of surface tension up here. That's what you want when you allow these to rise for another few hours. When you got that nice and balled up, plop that into a prepared floured surface where you're gonna store these, something that you can cover. Give them room to grow, because these have a lot of expanding more to do. Let these sit room temperature for about 3.5 more hours. Grab yourself a pizza paddle, throw some semolina flour down on it. It's gonna be a great texture for the bottom of your pizzas. Start grabbing these dough balls, pressing them out here. Start in the center with your fingertips and just work your way out. Build a little bit of crust there. And then the fun part here is you can put these up on your fist and just kind of work them around. Let gravity take the crust down lower, stretching your pizza out, and just look at that gluten development. You want your oven preheated to as high as it'll go. I don't know if that's 500 degrees or 550, but take it as high as it'll go and keep the cast iron pan in the oven as it preheats. Throw a little bit of olive oil in the pan and throw your pizza in there. And the trick here is not to overdress your pizza because this is paper thin right now, but it's gonna puff up as it bakes and be just such a pillowy, soft, doughy pizza. It's gonna be great. And make sure you get some cheese on the very edges touching the cast iron, because that's going to, as it heats up and melts, it's going to express its milk fats, and that's gonna help further oil your pizza and sort of fry it in its own fats along the sides. Get some giardiniera here and some sausage. This is not Chicago style pizza by any means. It's not the deep dish or the tavern style. Sort of closest to Pequod's, which is the best Chicago pizza anyway. By the way, Jon Stewart's rant about Chicago pizza, hilarious. But you badly paraphrasing that rant at a party 10 years later, not as funny. This is gonna go in for 8 minutes. During that time, you can get your next pie ready so that you can sort of get an assembly line going for your pizza night. Take it out. It should have crisped up enough on the bottom to just pull it out with a spatula. As for this Purist pie, the folks at the Boiler Room used to do the mozzarella in discs, like so. But I am gonna add a little cheese around the edges just to get that crispy side crust we're talking about. And I'm gonna do the basil and balsamic reduction after this comes out. Throw that down on a cutting board and slice her up. Cowabunga!